How many 55-year-olds do you know that are still at home and not working? I worked till I was 65. If I was still right there in the situation that it is now, I'd probably still be working because costs go up and you need to submit or supplement your 401k or whatever because it's not enough to make ends meet anymore. And so I'm in my 70s and I go out more than once a week. I go out almost every day according to my husband. But I don't know if that's true or not because I don't keep track of that. But there are people at 50, 55, 60, 65, and even 70 who go out on a daily basis. So there is going to be traffic from that 50-something.
Melissa Bowman.
I'm actually here to talk about something a little bit different. I'm here to talk about the grass clippings, and I want to just touch briefly about the golf carts and the noodle trip. So today I had a conversation with Mr. Garrison, and thank you so much for replying back to me and giving me the information that I need designated so I can have an informed plan to talk with him tonight. The understanding that I have about the grass clippings being discontinued is that the grass truck is the problem. It is costing a bunch of money to keep up, maintain, or whatever, even though it's only a year and a half old. It is also because the grass clippings that are dry create friction and catch the motor on fire. On the flip side, the wet grass causes to clog up. But we're going to continue to pick up leaves with the same truck, which makes no sense to me because my leaves that I put out are wet or dry. They're not either one, right? So how can we continue to pick up the leaves, but we're not going to pick up the grass? So I want to make sure that we understand what the full plan of action is. Now, I did look up and see on Home Depot's website today what it would cost me if I had to buy those recycling bags. It was going to cost me $26 for a box of 50 that is for 30-gallon bags. I have no idea how many I would use, but I'm sure I'm paying more than $26 a year for those taxes that are being paid already for this service. We've already lost the recycling, which by Mayor Womack's conversation I had with him last year about recycling was the reason why was because people were putting the wrong things out, and that caused the city to be fined. And then they couldn't recycle the things that they needed to, and then it was going to the dump anyway. But what I expressed to him at that time was, if you would effectively communicate with the citizens that we're not doing something right, give us a chance to fix it. If we don't fix it, if we don't change the way that we're doing it, then okay, let's have that conversation next. But you're not giving us a chance to fix it. In that conversation I had with Mr. Garrison today, I also learned that I've been doing it wrong for 18 years. I have been putting our grass clippings on the street. I didn't know that we weren't supposed to put it on the curb. So at 123 Court Drive, that's going to change effective immediately because now I know. But if everybody else knew, because as I was leaving through the subdivision today, I noticed everybody else is on the road. Because our service is supposed to be picked up for yard the day after our waste is picked up. So if our waste is picked up on Friday in Oak Creek, then she picks up our waste, the yard waste and everything should be on Monday. So everybody who cuts grass on the weekend is putting it in the same spot. Now, if we don't have the grass clippings picked up, then again, we're going to have the overflow. And at Oak Creek, where Mayor Womack reminded me that they fixed the stormwater drains previously, we do have a creek that runs back there. And it has backed up before, and it's because of the stormwater. So as we don't bag our leaves or our clippings, it's going to continue to go down into that creek that's down there. It's going to cause and ruin the $1 million project that you guys already fixed in Oak Creek. So additionally, I want to say that we continue to lose these services. Okay, I'm hurrying. So, but just real quick about the golf carts. Whose idea is that? The doodle trail is supposed to be for exercise, not for golf carts.
Mitchell Lerner.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. If I could say also that I'm personally very happy to see the mayor is back from what he had to go through, and for those of us who had such a trial with this disease, to go through, this is really the biggest blessing we can have. And I agree with what you said at the outset. Mr. Mayor, and thank you very much. Thank you to the council members of Easley, and thank you to all the citizens of Easley who have participated in this and shown so much care. The issue before us really tonight is whether to annex the Couchling property that's currently in the county. In order to make that determination, we have to consider many different things, and one of them is the benefits that would accrue to the city. And what we are offering, or what we are proposing, is a responsible, aesthetically pleasing, and forward-thinking concept. We are providing new jobs. We're providing tax revenues, direct and indirect benefits, all with significant economic impact. We are asking tonight to continue our 40-year relationship with the city of Easley. We've been here for 40 years. The Lerner family, my father, my mother used to bring us down on Sundays, and we would water the bushes so that they would take when they were planted. We've done our best to hear all the voices around us. About a year ago, we committed to a dynamic process of discussions with city officials and the Planning Commission. We've taken seriously every issue raised, from sightlines to flood protection. Although we were disappointed by the vote of the Planning Commission, we still wish to recognize that our work together with the Planning Commission was productive. We listened, we responded, the Planning Commission and to the neighbors. We reduced the height of the buildings, and we created more privacy by closing them in. We believe that our proposal reflects the essence of the dialogue process of the FRD zoning, which we were asked to implement. We were asked to implement the FRD, and we believe that we have embodied the spirit of that. We have an opportunity to shape future development, and that's really why we're here today. Population growth is accelerating. Somebody said, population growth is accelerating. There's tremendous expectation for what's happening. The demand for new housing is growing even faster. Average household size is dropping. The average household size is 2.6. The proportion of households over age 65 is predicted to rise to 26% to 34% by 2038. Okay, I just want to say thank you. So, addressing this growing housing dilemma is really what we're trying to do. So tonight, I'd like to ask for your support, your vote, your blessings for success in making the best choice. Please join me for part in building what I think is best for the community, rather than what might be the choices that come after the county.
Sean, and I'm sorry, but I can't read your last name.
Faulkner.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Mayor and council members, my name is Sean Faulkner. I live at 204 Murfield Drive here in Easley. Lived 51 of my 52 years here. I also represent Mr. Lerner and have represented his family for 15 plus years. What we're here talking about tonight is annexation of property that's currently unzoned and in the county, but sits right in the middle of the city. We're not talking about rezoning property that adjacent property owners have relied on being a certain zoning classification for years and years. This property's been unzoned and could have been developed for multiple different types of projects, industrial, manufactured homes, cluster housing, It could have been a warehouse. It can still be developed as an apartment complex if it's not annexed in. Yes, the number of density would be much less, but under the county ordinance, the development of that property would be spread out all over. You would not be able to control or take into consideration the 100 or plus feet that they've been able to come up with under the FRD to keep the buildings away from the adjacent properties. It's just the way the county ordinance is set up. You cannot cluster those buildings like that and expect to develop. And you cannot develop a product. It's going to be a different product. It's going to be probably subsidized housing type of apartment complex because you can't spend the money because you got less units and you don't have a return. So I think it's imperative for the city to protect itself and those adjacent property owners and go with a developer that's been a part of this community for 40 years and who is a responsible developer who spent 9 months working with the city and many of you, I think, in coming up with a plan that took into consideration not only the adjacent property owners, but the concerns of the city in wanting to protect them. In addition to that, the developer's gone over and above to set up stormwater drainage that is, I think, 3 or 4 times more than what is required to try to address some stormwater issues that's been going on in the neighborhoods around the property. So I just urge you to give serious consideration to this. A moratorium is not the answer to this project. A moratorium would not apply to this project. This project is on the board. The property is going to be developed, and you have the opportunity to have a say in how that property is developed. Thank you.
Bobby Templeton.
Mayor and council members, I'm a general contractor. I've been doing this for over 40 years. I've built thousands of apartments. I've built multiple retirement communities. I've been associated with the Lerner family for the last 10 years. I was the contractor on Glenbrook Apartments here in Easley, and I hope I'll be the contractor on the Couch Lane project. I've had good working relationships with the city building department, the utility department, and the fire department through the years. During my career, I've worked with a variety of developers. Most of them were interested in one thing: building quickly, cheaply, leasing up, and selling to the highest bidder. Mr. Lerner is not that kind of developer. I'm here to ask you to approve this project, and I assure you that you can't find a better, more conscientious developer than Mr. Lerner. Thank you.
Jamie Chamey.
Hi, my name is Jeannie Cheney. Good to see you all. So first I will talk about the moratorium, not stopping this building project. That's correct, it won't stop it, but it will protect us from future building projects until we get a growth plan. Secondly, I would like to say that considering the misleading information that's been provided to the public regarding the leniency of the county and having discovered the county's guidelines are far more structured than what we were led to believe, we would like the property to remain in the county. This project is completely inconsistent with the established character of the single-family neighborhood surrounding this property. In addition, the city is out of compliance with its own ordinance due to the fact that there's no current approved growth plan. The comprehensive plan is adopted to guide and direct the growth and development in the city of Easley. I would also like to say at the last meeting, Mr. Lerner said that the average apartment dweller makes $75,000 a year. I just want to know what apartment dweller is making $75,000 a year. Well, I'm not. The average dweller in Easley, not apartment dweller, just citizen, makes $45,000 a year. So this is not for us. I don't know who this is for, but it's not for me. It's not for these people. So that is an issue. We're displacing the citizens of this community it's gross, at a gross rate. I've talked to people who work at the library, who grew up here, and said, I can't afford to live here anymore. What are we doing for the people who have dedicated their lives to Easley, to the citizens who have lived here for years? What are we saying to these people? Secondly, the golf carts on Doodle Trail. My children, my 9-year-old, my 6-year-old, we go there often. My friends, we go there often. We walk the trail. I understand that it's going to have limits and times, and that's not what it's for. If you guys want motorized things on the Doodle Trail, get a motorized wheelchair. How are you going to make this for everybody? That is not for everybody. Are you going to have golf cart rentals for the people who can't afford a golf cart? Because I can't afford a golf cart. I don't make $75,000 a year. I work full time. If you guys need us, let us know. I will reach out to whoever in the state, the Senate, the Congress. I have no problem. I'm a full-time mom, I'm a full-time worker, and now I'm a full-time concerned citizen. So please do not allow this to happen to this beautiful city. Thank you.
There was one more, Ms. Candace Ledbetter, who kind of led this at the very beginning, asked that this letter be read into the record. It says, Dear Mayor and members of council, my name is Candace Ledbetter. I live at 203 McAllister Trace. I have asked this statement be read in my absence and that I am currently out of town. I am asking the council to vote in support of annexation of Couch Lane property. I realize the growth concerns mentioned throughout the process, but I support this development for 3 primary reasons. First, Mr. Lerner, the developer, listened to our concerns at the first planning meeting in April, amended his proposal, from 7 4-story buildings to 3-story buildings. I felt 4-story buildings were too intrusive to the surrounding neighborhoods, mine included. The concern was addressed to my satisfaction with respect to modifying the building height. Second, Mr. Lerner and the developers have gone to great lengths to include green space buffers, including numerous canopy trees in their site plan. From recent developments inside the city, most developers are prone to cut the land, replant buffers where needed. This includes recent townhomes as well as single-family subdivisions. Canopy trees just can't be planted, and disrespect for the land is to be commended. Lastly, and most importantly, is the concern of stormwater runoff. Numerous stormwater concerns have been addressed in the Huntington area, and more are pending. Mr. Lerner again has gone above and beyond to put in place a 100-year floodplain detention pond versus the minimal standard for this parcel of a 25-year floodplain detention. Again, most recent developments have only met minimal requirements to maximize land usage. And I feel any other developer, no matter the development type, would be prone to only satisfy the minimal requirements. Stormwater is often difficult and expensive to address after a problem has been identified, as the city is well aware of. I am thankful for the foresight of this site plan to prevent additional stormwater issues. As I mentioned, this is a critical area of concern for my home, and that the creek that the detention pond will flow into is literally in my backyard. I would love for this 15-acre parcel to remain pristine, but we all know a large development will happen. Due to the compromise presented by the developer and the general aesthetics of the property, including green spaces, and most importantly, the 100-year floodplain, I welcome your support in annexing the Couch Lane property. Sincerely, Candace Ledbetter.
We'll move on to item 9, unfinished business. This is second readings. Ordinance number 2021-09 to approve the 21-22 City of Easley operating budget. Do I hear a motion?
Motion ready to table, please.
Second.
All right, this is for the second reading of the budget, and we have also just had the public hearing on it. Just some brief discussion on it. It's a $16.63 million budget, a 5.1% increase from last year. The budget has been set. Mr. Steves worked on this very hard before he left us. And as you can see, where the money is coming from, property taxes, sales taxes, franchise fees, license permits, and so on, all the way down. At the end, after all this in, is $16,063,000. Easley, once again, has the lowest millage rate with the exception of 6 Mile, which offers no services at all. We're at 62 mil. We're wishing this budget will have a tax increase of 1.5 mils. Stormwater fee will remain at $30 a unit. With the multiplier on a home of $200,000, you still will see a $4.20 decrease in your city tax bill. Okay. Budget includes a 2% cost of living for all employees of the city. The employee contribution into retirement will hold steady at 9%. City will cover 1%